Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Living the Whole Picture, the podcast where photography, business, and inspiration collide. I'm your host, Jayma Pantel, a luxury portrait photographer turned educator, author, influencer, and dream chaser. And today on the podcast, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Carey. So we were talking just before this, and I think we've known each other for about 10 years now. But if you can top our meeting in real life story, I dare you to challenge us and come at us with this. So we started as Instagram friends. We both live in Texas. We met for the first time in real life on the side of a volcano during the Kauai Marathon. I was coming down, she was going up. She saw me, she called me out, and I gave her the biggest hug during the marathon ever, and then got to connect with her at the finish line when we finished and all the things. So, if you've actually met somebody on the side of a volcano for the first time and stopped to give them a hug, I dare you to challenge that. I think we got you beat.
Love it.
So, I have followed Carey and her journey and her story for many years, like I said, and I think she's an impressive woman, and I think y'all will agree. Like me, she's a fellow introvert. So I think sharing the stories of fellow introverts and how they got out into the world is huge. So I know you don't want to hear all this from me. You hear my voice in every other podcast. Let's hear from her. So, hi, Carey. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Good. It'll be fun. We're just talking to friends, right?
Yep, exactly.
So, first of all, why don't you start with just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, that's always such a hard question, right? 'Cause,
Tell me about it.
I would rather listen to somebody than talk about me. But like Gemma said, um, our story of how we met is so cool. Like, who can say they met somebody in real life on the side of a volcano, like, and running a race?
Yep.
Totally cool.
And
But
I forgot to mention she is a fellow big chicken. We both ran
yes.
26.2 that day. And if you've ever run the Kauai Marathon, you know what the split off. The little chickens go down halfway at the halfway marathon cutoff. The big chickens, the crazier people in line, turn to the right and go uphill for I don't know how many thousands of miles. So she is my big chicken.
Yes. So if I refer to you as a big chicken, that is why, because we are big chickens together. So um I, I'm just online introverted beauty person.
Yep.
It's so awkward. So I've been in the social selling space now for I think 9-ish years. And like you said, we were talking before and you've kind of followed my journey. So that's kind of fun and exciting and kind of scary all at the same time because you've seen me evolve over time. And, I think that it's just, I don't know, getting older. Like I'm almost 57 now. So hitting 50 and then moving beyond is just, it's really freeing because you can let things go and just really start to embrace who you are as a person. And so that's just kind of what I've done as an introvert.
You have. And so I know, and I've heard you say it before, and this resonates, and it resonates with a lot of people, right? You can keep reinventing yourself. And I know you entered this as a stage in your life where you were looking for something for yourself, right? So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about, how you got started with that and what was like, what switched in your mind, like, I need something for me. What am I going to do type thing?
Yes. So it was basically about the time that I've got two grown kids now, and my daughter graduated high school. And it was like, I spent all those years totally focused on her. My son is 11 years older than her, so he'd already moved out of the house. And it was like, you're at a crossroads. Do you want to go back to school? I'm this older person now. Do I want to go get a 9-to-5 job? I've been out of the workforce for so long. Like, it's scary. And so, it's that old story where somebody invited you to this meeting, and I joked about this earlier on one of my social media stories that I did not know it was like one of those opportunity calls, like, come and hear about these products. Like, I was so naive. I didn't have a clue. Um, but that's kind of what started the whole thing. And yeah, here I am almost, I think it's been 8 to 9 years now. And it's really helped me grow as a person.
And I have witnessed this transformation firsthand. I think when you do anything, any kind of business or anything else, showing up and showing up consistently is huge.
Yeah.
So, as an introvert, explain to us like how you started showing up consistently and continuing to show up year day after day, month after month, year after year. And kind of walk us through that evolution of like what shifted in your mind to basically make yourself show up.
Yeah. So the thing I've realized is that I'm very goal driven. And so I think a lot of runners are the same way. Like we love a challenge, right? So when I found the beauty industry, it kind of ignited this passion in me. Not that I was, I'm not a girly girl. I can go without wearing makeup, but helping people fueled that passion. Like I am a mom. I've got that nurturing. I love helping people. That's what fuels my soul. And so when I got involved in network marketing, I got that adrenaline rush. Like, oh my gosh, helping people makes me feel good and it makes them feel good. And it's just this domino effect. And so that's what fueled me to keep going. And then, you know, the what is that? There's a saying about something becoming a habit after you do it for so long. And it's like just constantly showing up became habit. That's just what I did. Just like running, you just run. It's not, you don't think about it, you just do. That's just part of who you are. And so I just started showing up. And little by little, my business grew. I kind of came out of my shell more. I'm still so introverted, like totally introverted. But showing up to help others overshadows that scared introverted person in me. So
Yeah, that
you
makes a
get
lot of sense to somebody like me. And I say that often. It's reframing and shifting the mindset, right? Into I'm not here to talk about me, although it feels like that, right?
yeah,
We're in front of the camera, we feel like we're talking about me, but we're not. We're talking about how we can help and how we can serve others.
yeah.
And I think you did an incredible job with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And showing up consistently. And like you said, so I can correlate a lot, pretty much any analogy in life I can relate to running, right? And I know we're both runners. I know we both do things. Y'all, she's getting ready to run the London Marathon.
I'm so scared.
Yeah. So she's run several of the majors. She's run New York. She's run Chicago. Those are the two, right? That am I
Yep.
not? Yeah. So I've also got to follow her. She runs those. And if there's anything you need to know about a runner, it's that they've got grit and running's hard and running a business is hard and showing up day in and day out is hard and it's messy. Yet somehow, some way, we have the grit, the courage to
Yeah.
get up the next day and do it over and over again. And that's what I've seen in her.
Thank
So
you. Yeah.
that's what I love about you and your story. And so how long did it take you basically to get comfortable to like how long would you say into like pushing yourself to show up and goal driven did it take to feel comfortable? Was there ever a shift in you where you're like, okay, I got this. I made this. I'm here. I'm comfortable and stuff like that.
I think there were probably a couple of different shifts along the way. So there was one where it was like, when I started out, I was never going to go live and I was never going to show me. And having listened to your podcast earlier, I'm like, I totally get that. Like it is easier to show pictures of you and your family and your life, but to turn the camera around on you it's so vulnerable. And I mean, it really isn't, but it feels that way. So there was a shift where I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to be on social media showing myself scared, shaky voice, all the things. And then that was probably, gosh, a year in maybe. before I got it the courage to do that. I don't know. My memory is really bad, but so,
But it took a while. It took a
it
while.
took
You
a
talked
while.
yourself into it, even though you were
Yes.
showing up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so if it's been 8 years since I started, I would say when I turned 50, so almost 7 years ago. Yeah, that would all make sense, right? Um, 50 was very liberating. And it's true, like it is freeing, and you're less worried about what people say about you, less what they think about you. You realize people are judging you regardless. And like you said, your people will find you. We are not for everyone, but our people will find us if we show up authentically. So from that moment on, I was like, I'm going to be me. And every year I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with me and knowing that, I don't talk eloquently. I say stupid things. I am not perfect. I show up messy. I'm not a planner. Like I have all these things and it's like, but that's just me. And so I want to be authentic. And like this last year, as you know, was a challenge in being really authentic to myself. And I feel like every challenge that we go through reveals a new side of us, and then we can embrace that and then move forward, and it's just, I don't know, it's freeing.
Yes. And so before we get into the challenges and the setbacks and the reinventing ourselves and all the things, you said something that I think is very, very true and something that I happen to agree with. You're like, I'm going to show up as me. I can't be anybody else, right? I know personally in this like online world and stuff like that, you see what everybody else is doing clearly and stuff like that. And the temptation to try to be like
Yes.
somebody else or replicate a reel or somebody that went viral. Like it's always there in the back of our minds, right?
Yes.
But I know for me personally, when I like look at that and think that, I was like, oh, that's not me. It works for them, great for them. That's not me. And so again, I know you stay true to yourself the entire time, which is like what I admire about you because again, I've been in this influencer space
Yeah.
and stuff too, and I see a lot of stuff that I'm like, I know this person in real life, and then I see this person on here and something's, not
Yeah.
quite jiving well or whatever. And you were one of those people that I knew in person and I knew online, and you were always the same person. And that's what made me stick with your journey, follow along, and learn
Thank
a
you.
lot. As you know,
Thank
I'm not a girly girl, right? I don't wear makeup, I don't do all the things, but then I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm like, oh, that resonates. I want to try that stick for my eye, like which I'm gonna get. I didn't get before I left, but I'm getting like
I love
so,
that.
but I know you built your business up and you worked really, really hard to build this business up.
Yes.
So how long did it take to get there? So if y'all don't know, she's built her business into, six-figure business, which is huge and stuff like that, and network marketing and marketing any business. Like, when I
Yeah.
did that in my business, it was huge, right? That's a big
Yeah.
milestone we always like give ourselves. And she did that and got there. So how did you go about getting there? Like, again, knowing me, that was a goal I set in my mind. Was that
Yeah.
like something? Yeah. So tell me about like setting that goal, doing the work to achieve that goal.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not really a planner. So I've always had big goals, and I'm really bad at like people, they plan things out, and I'm like, that's just not me. I just kind of wing it. So I just did what I do, and I showed up consistently. I stayed true to me. I shared the things I was passionate about, and it grew. It just grew. And it happens every day. It's not like all of a sudden, boom, you're there. So it's like those little things that you do on a daily basis get you to your goals. So
Did you have like set like I'm gonna show up X times a week? Like what or did you was just when you felt like doing it?
I'm like, I'm gonna just show up. Like I'm like I said, my work schedule, my lifestyle is just like you just do it.
Yeah.
It's not a question. It's like this is part of my life. This is how I show up. I'm I'm I want to inspire people. I want to help people. But if I'm not showing them, like there's always that the quote that like you have to have your open sign on. And so my open sign is on all the time. And my kids are grown. My husband works. So it's like this is my life. It doesn't feel like work to me. It's just who I am.
Yeah. And I see a lot in the online space and stuff like that about like blasting side hustles and all these things like they're bad, they're bad. I was like, this isn't a side hustle. This is a heart hustle.
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
like
be
that.
doing this if I didn't love it. And I see that in you, right? Like
Yeah.
again, I see that in you. There aren't, there are plenty of people that do it. There
Yeah.
are people who are not and do it for the paycheck. And that's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
not something you did. You showed up, you served, and you did it admirably. Then I know there was setbacks, right?
There were setbacks.
Setbacks,
Yes.
staying authentic and coming back from the setbacks. So tell me kind of what, kind of the downward, like you knew some things were going to change. It was going
Yeah.
down. You were determined to rise above. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the company that I was with for it was almost 5 years announced that they were changing the model of it and it was going to an affiliate model, which meant that the six-figure income that I had worked on and built over those 5 years was taken away. And so I just, it hit me hard. Um, but the company that I loved for all those years, I couldn't just turn that off and be like, oh my gosh, I'm losing. So I took the high road. Like I still love the company. Do I support what they changed, how they changed it? No, there's all these things that happened that could have been done differently. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And so you either, you know, let it go or embrace it and pivot. And so I chose to pivot. But what I didn't know was that this journey I had been on, let's see, for the last year had just kind of worked its way in to help me get over that loss. And so there was another opportunity that presented itself, and I'd kept it on the down low for a while because it didn't at that time it didn't align with what I was doing as far as the team that I was growing and the people that I was helping, because I was always like tried and true, one passion, you focus on that passion, not multiple. And so I held back on that one. And it was such a blessing in disguise because it presented itself when I needed it. And then I just like embraced it. And now I'm focused. I'm still with company A. Now I've got company B, and I'm building a business there. So, sometimes life throws us curveballs, you know, and it's up to you how you respond to them. Some people don't handle it well, but like at the end of the day, you just have to do what's right and trust your gut.
Yeah. Yep. And
Does that
it makes total sense.
that's big too?
Everybody has to pivot. Everybody has things like you don't have as much as you want to be in control of things, you
Yep.
can't be in control of everything. I pivoted with my business. I'm going full force. I built it up to a six-figure business. I'm in the studio. I'm doing all these things. And my mom was diagnosed with cancer. Right. And so I stopped marketing. I stopped doing all the things because, you were with me when my dad was diagnosed with cancer
Yep.
5, 6 years before, and I got sick and I couldn't do anything.
Yep.
And I was bound and determined not to let that happen this time. So I stopped marketing and I stopped doing all those things. And I was very open about it this time versus
Yeah.
the first time when my dad had cancer and I never really talked about it. I was open about it. I was open with my clients about it. People were not happy with me about it. But I chose to do what I knew in my heart
Yep.
was the high road and the best thing to do. I couldn't be giving my whole heart to my business when there was a
Yeah,
piece missing dealing with my mom. And
exactly.
yes, and
Yeah.
so those setbacks happen no matter what, and we have no, as much as we say we have control over X, Y, and Z, I mean, my business is my name, and I have zero control over a lot of stuff that happens, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
you have to pivot and take the high road and all the things, and I think you did that with such grace,
Thank you.
such excellence, and so now that you are building back up and doing all the things,
Yeah.
have you? I mean, I'm guessing I know the answers to this, but is anything changed? Are you planning on doing anything different? Anything?
Um, I think that I I'm a little bit more strategic this time around. The first time is like, you kind of get a little scrappy and you might like, should I really do that? And this time around, I'm like, I'm going to stay true to myself and I'm going to watch what happens. And if I can do it again, I'm going to do it again. And if I can't, well, I'm going to give it my best effort. So, yeah,
Intention. So I heard you say, I'm going to do it intentional this time,
yeah.
which is huge. I know a lot of people do words of the year and that, stuff like that. And it's so I know I've actually seen several people and intention is one of theirs. So that makes total sense to go into it intentionally and stuff like that. So what do you have a word of the year? Like what is it? Yeah.
I
So
do.
share that with me, share how you came to that because all of this always fascinates me. Like, and what are your hopes for like this year and beyond and stuff like that based on that?
Perfect. So last year, my word was authenticity. And it was like, oh my gosh.
Perfect.
So I feel like I've done this for like the last 6 or 7 years. And that word is kind of like you mentioned in your podcast, like, what's your why? So I refer back to my word of the year when things get low, when I had to pivot, like, be authentic. That was the word. That was what I held to my, held true to me. And so this year, I got out my word list and it's like vision. Vision stood out to me. So my word of the year for 2025 is vision because I have a big vision for this year. And so, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to work so hard to follow what I feel like is my path for this year.
I love that. That's a great word, vision. And I do a lot of things fly by the seat of my pants too, right? Like so.
Love
Again,
it.
there's a reason we've been friends for so many years.
We
Um,
just wing it.
yeah, just wing it and just show up and wing it. And I even more so love the fact that you said you don't know what your that complete vision is. You don't know what it's going to be, right?
No, no, I don't.
But I know and you know that in your heart, in your gut, in your true self, you know that you'll reach
Yeah.
that. Like
I do. I really feel that. I do. Because I feel like I have this passion and this trueness that is undeniable. Like when you're so passionate, like your photography, we can feel the passion you have and the story from how it started with your grandma. Like that just gives me chills every time. And it's like that passion comes through in everything you do. And so I feel like when somebody finds their passion, gosh, you're just unstoppable.
yeah, that is words of wisdom right there. When you find your passion, you know what it is, you're unstoppable. And I have had the pleasure of taking pictures for Carrie.
Yes.
It was so fun. It was so fun. Again, you give me people in front of my camera, I will always be taking pictures, what I love, passion,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, so where do you see beyond? Do you see yourself just continuing to go with this? Do you see any more pivots, any more changes? Like, do you have an ultimate like goal and stuff like that? Is one, and
Next.
then I have something else I want to ask you as well.
Okay. I don't, people ask like, what's your 5-year plan? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to push and see what I can do because everything I've achieved to this point has been well beyond what I ever imagined. So I'm like, I don't want to set a limit. I'm just going to see what is possible.
You are unlimited. Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing I want to talk about, and this is huge, there is not, again, as the older generation, I'm, closer to 50 than 40.
Still a
So
baby.
yeah, still a baby compared to you, right? But there aren't as many, I don't know if influencers or where there's not, we as
Yeah,
women in our young, and when we were younger, right, we were taught to be quiet, be the good girl, do all the things and stuff like that. And so for a woman coming out and
yeah,
doing this and stuff like that, so in your over 50 space,
yeah.
I for one think you are rocking it. So
Love it.
and you embrace that, you dive full force into that. And again, one of those things, women, you don't talk about your age, you're not asked about your age and all those things, right? Well, in what both of us do, I talk about it regularly too,
Yeah.
um, to inspire, not
Yes.
age doesn't limit you, right? So
Yeah.
I personally look at you and I'm assuming you've had women over 50 who have come to you as an inspiration, as you
Yeah.
their inspiration and stuff like that. So tell me what made you like lean into that.
Yes, that is so awkward, but yes. It used to be like, don't ask her age. And it's like, why not? Like, I don't know. I think it's so freeing. And I, you know, your superpower is that thing. And that thing for a lot of women is the age. And it's like, that's not a hindrance. Like, that's not your excuse. That is should be what fuels you because I don't know. You're right. Like the company that that I'm still with, but is kind of like my secondary now, is it's really focused on young girls. And so it was always so empowering to me to represent this age group, like the over 50 age group, because we're not dead. We're just getting started. And it's like, come on, the kids are grown and gone. It's our time. And so, like, if I can inspire anybody to embrace your age, to get out there, to try something new, like, I didn't start running till I was 45. I am not athletic at all, but it's like, now's our time to just try new things and not be afraid of aging. So,
No. And I love that. And as you know, I was on another influencer team, run team,
yeah,
and I sought out the masters runners. Like that's the
yes,
thing in the running world, masters runners, that's anybody over 40. And there were not that many of them. And those are the people that I resonate with, and wanted to hear more from and
yeah.
more about and more of their journey and stuff like that. I was like, a 20-year-old doing stuff doesn't impress me. You're young. Like I could do anything at 20. I was invincible. Like
Exactly.
doesn't impress me. 30-year-old. I mean, I was, PRing in my late 30s. Like that's when, as runners, we tend to, do our best. And a lot of younger runners don't realize that. But that is, if you look at all the research, and I'm a researcher, that's when you master everything is late 30s, right? So, um, looking over 40 and into the masters and beyond are the inspirations to me, the ones that are still going, still doing this. I wholeheartedly admire that you still have the desire to run marathons. That I just finished one and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yep. I was so bummed I didn't get into Sydney.
I know. I saw that. I was like, oh no, no Sydney.
It'll be next time. So my goal is to run all the majors.
So it is a goal of yours to run all the majors. Yeah.
Chad
Okay.
thinks my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, I love a goal. And it's like, that is such a wild, crazy goal that why not?
It's not crazy because my goal has been to run zero majors and I've stuck to it. I've run a lot of marathons. I've run zero majors, had zero desire to run zero majors. Yet I still support and still love like the marathon ran 3 weeks ago had 128 runners.
I
The
love that.
marathons Carey runs has 50,000
Yes.
runners.
A lot. It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
the introvert in me is like mind blown by those crowds and can't even wrap my head around like being in a corral with that many people. So she is the prime example of doing it and putting yourself out there even when it's scary
Yep.
and daunting and all the things and putting in the work to make it happen.
Yes. Yep.
So, is there
Yep.
anything else you want to share about your journey, about where you're going, about all the things?
I would just say that, just do it. So my mantra, my favorite quote of all time is, you may see me struggle, but you'll never see me quit. And it's true. Like, don't strive for perfection. Just try. Just struggle through it, because what happens on the other side of it is incredible, you know?
And I love this and I love that advice. And I do think this is where we as masters women can inspire future younger
Yeah.
generations. Because I know I was scared back then. I would have never put myself out there as in my 20s or even 30s. Like that wouldn't have happened. So
Mhm.
I do think us being willing to be vulnerable and
Yes.
share, that it's still messy, even at our age, and we still don't know what we're doing. We're human.
Yes.
We still don't know what we're doing.
Nope. Nope.
We're still just winging life and winging everything else.
But it's working for us. So,
Exactly. It works. Like it works. We're not like these 100% put together like and I'm sure you've done it too because I know you're the way you are as well. But I mean, I look into this, I research these things. Like, I mean, if you see people online like selling and marketing and all these things, right? And there's like, do it this way, do it this way, do it. It's like there is no right way to do it.
no,
You
there's
do
no.
you, boo. Like,
Yes.
and that's what I've witnessed in Carey's journey and why I wanted her on here. She remains so authentic and so herself throughout all of her growth and throughout the years, and it's only continued to show up and show up better and more herself and more authentic and put herself out there more. And I think that's a huge inspiration.
So much. I'm so glad you asked me. I was so nervous to do this. I almost didn't, because that's just the introvert in me. But I'm like, but it's you. It's my big chicken. So
Can't tell me no.
I couldn't tell you no. No.
Tell me no, exactly. And I appreciate you doing this because, again, I tend to surround myself with people like me, right? Introverts. But I want to show the world, if I can, that just because you are an introvert doesn't mean you can't put yourself out there and stay authentic to who you are. And I think there needs to be more of that. And
Yeah.
I know I am. I know you are. We're grateful to our extrovert friends who
Yeah.
get us
Oh,
doing things
yes.
that we would never do and saying yes to things we would never say yes to. But at the end of the day, staying true to yourself, I think, is what resonates and what I think more people should put out into the world and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I think you do it expertly.
Thank you.
All
I
you know.
think I think our introvert is our superpower, really. It's us. And there are a lot of us out there.
And so that actually at that said, like, so when you deal with these women and you do it one-on-one, right? Clearly you put yourself out there for a huge audience, even though you feel like you're just talking to yourself, you recognize you have a
Yeah.
huge following and everything else, yet they come into your world one-on-one, and
Yes.
that's where
Yeah.
you shine, and that's where you grow
Yeah.
these relationships with people is behind the
Yes.
scenes.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm one on one. We're good, but put me in a group and I'm going to be that shy person over in the corner, not talking to anybody.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming you're that way with all of the women you work with and everything else. And that is your superpower is like
Yep.
bringing them
Yep.
that way and that's why they stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So is there where can they find you if they want to follow you? Again, she does beauty. She's in, beauty, skincare, makeup. Like she talks about all of that,
Yep.
and doing it in very natural ways, which I also love as somebody who doesn't do a lot. The natural speaks to me. So where can we find you? How can we support you? What can we do for you?
Oh, thank you. So I'm on all the social media platforms. You can find me. It's either Carey Pierce Beauty or fitbeauty.com, or Fit Beauty Carey Pierce.
And I can get those for her and share them in the show notes so
Thank
y'all
you.
can have them and have access to her. I know mentioning it to a few of my friends that I was going to interview you and they don't know you. They're like, "Oh, I want to hear this interview." They want the tips too on how to show up authentically over and over again, right? And
I
I
love it.
like how you broke it down just as simple. You just do it. Like
You just do it.
It is what it is, and you just do it. And like, I can only say it so much. I want them to hear it from other people. Yeah. So, any final thoughts or anything before we log?
No, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful that we met all those years ago. And it's just been so much fun to watch you grow and grow your business and, all the things.
Well, thank you so much for being on here with me today. Again, I know it was hard, and I'm so glad you said yes. And you're absolutely right. The only way we can grow is stepping outside of our comfort zone and pushing ourselves and doing these things. And that's what we both continue to do. So
Yes. Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
I want to thank y'all again for tuning in to Living the Whole Picture. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it left you feeling inspired and wanting to show up, whether it's behind the camera, in front of it, putting yourself out there in your business, in your life, any way you want to show up as yourself and show up and share the whole picture. That's what you do. And until next time, keep chasing those dreams and living the whole picture.